Hello and good afternoon, everybody. I do apologize for the delay today. Um, but hello to all of our interested scholars out there in virtual land. I do want to welcome you to our second edition of our entry year 2024 JAMP application office hours. We are so excited to be here with you today and to provide you with a walkthrough and guidance when it comes to the entry year 24 JAMP application. My name is Tashae Freeman Savage. I am the JAMP Associate Director, and I am here to give you all a quick overview today. So we will start by presenting the application. We're going to start going over some applicant responsibilities, some timelines, going over what supporting documents are, and kind of setting the foundation. Then a little bit later, we're going to go ahead and jump into the application itself. We're going to be joined by one of our representatives from the application services who will break down the application for us. All right, so just to start out, if you have any questions or comments during the presentation, feel free to drop them in the comment section. We're going to go ahead and go through some information, and I will feel free to answer some of these questions as they come along. If not, we'll ensure to get to them at the end of our session today. All right, I'm going to go ahead and jump in today. All right, so here we go. So what I am viewing today is actually a very important resource for you guys. It is actually our application instructions, and how you can access this is you can go to our website, texasjamp.org, and you can click on where it says application instructions. And right here, you will see our handbook attached, and this is actually our handbook for entry year 2024, so everything is applicable. When you open it, you see the table of contents. You can easily see which section, if you need any assistance with, where to find the information. All right, so our prospective scholars out there. So a little overview of JAMP if you're not aware. So JAMP is a program that was founded by the Texas legislator, and it's really to provide the access, and it's to increase our pipeline for students who are underserved, disadvantaged, to be able, and also highly qualified, to be able to access and have access to a career and a pathway into medical school here in Texas. And so that's where JAMP comes along. We do have partnerships with 11 medical schools here in Texas, and then 68 partner institutions throughout Texas, to where as long as you meet the guidelines for acceptance into the JAMP program, you fulfill all the requirements while you're in the JAMP program, you have successful scores on your MCAT, that does guarantee that admission into one of our participating medical schools. So for this program, we do have quite an extensive application. So I do advise you to start the process as soon as you can if you are interested in submitting an application for our upcoming cohort, because there are pieces of the application that need to be turned in at certain times. If you do look at the screen, we do have an outline of our application timeline. So the application did open this year, May 1st at 8 a.m. and the application deadline is right around the corner. We're a little bit less than 2 weeks out. So that is Tuesday, October 31st at 5 p.m. Central Time. So if you do have any questions, comments, concerns, you need any assistance with the application itself or any of these supporting documents, please make sure that you reach out to either your JFD at your campus or get in contact with us. That way we can make sure that you're able to get that application submitted before Tuesday, October 31st. As far as the supporting documents, well, I'll talk about in a moment. Those are going to have a separate deadline. So you see it's different than that October 31st. The supporting documents themselves, they need to be to your JFD by Wednesday, November 8th. and that is the deadline for the supporting document. So you do see we have 2 deadlines to be cognizant of when you're going through this application process. And there are no exceptions. No exceptions for the JAMP deadlines under any circumstances. That's one of your responsibilities as a JAMP applicant, to ensure that you do read through and you see what the requirements are and you take the necessary steps to be able to fulfill and complete your application and get that submitted on time. If at any point you need assistance with your JAMP application, feel free to give us a call. Our mainline number is 512-499-4352. So this is a time where you can take out your phone, snap a picture, insert the phone number into your phone. We are a resource here to assist you in this process. There is no question that is not welcomed. We're here to assist you in any way we can to help you with the process. And you can feel free to send an email to our info@texasjamp.org inbox as well, and we will assist you. All right. So the first thing I will say is, now that you're thinking and you're interested in applying for JAMP in our upcoming cohort, is to really prepare and meet with your JAMP faculty director really as soon as you can. It's really vital because there are pieces of the application that we'll get into shortly that you're going to need to really work with your JAMP faculty director to make sure that you really meet those requirements. And they're also going to be your direct resource at your institution to be able to provide you really specific trajectory advice on what classes to take to make sure that you are able to fulfill the requirements for medical school and you can meet their prerequisites for application. All right, so a few technical difficulties. If at any time you guys have any problems with your application itself, you can reach out to us, but there's also a mechanism inside of your application that will be showed later on how you can send us a message inside the application itself. You'll go straight to our application service and they can assist you with those direct questions fairly quickly. And real quick, I'm going to talk about the supporting documents. So we're going to talk about the main application that's due on October 31st in a moment. But I wanted to take a time out to take a few minutes to talk about those supporting documents that are due November 8th. So the applicants, you must meet with your JFD regarding the submission because you are going to need to get your letters of evaluation. If you do see that is your JAMP faculty director. So we are going to need 2 letters of evaluations from you. One needs to come from your JFD. So it's very important that you meet with them, you establish a relationship. That way, when they're doing the evaluation, they have a better understanding of who you are and they can get that picture painted, if that makes sense. And then the other letter of evaluation needs to come from, it could be another JFD if you have one at your institution, or a faculty member at your institution is recommended, or you also have an option for it to be an outside party. So it can be somebody that, you've been a volunteer supervisor a mentor, somebody who's been there who can really attest to your ability, your motivation to really go through this program and be successful. As far as supporting documents, we're also going to need your notice of intent to apply and your authorization to release records. We're going to need your high school transcript with your class rank on it. That's one of the ways we can tell if it's official or not, if it has that class ranking on there. Student aid reports, and that comes from your FAFSA, your free application for your federal application for your free application for federal student aid, excuse me. And so we're going to need 2 of those. We're going to need 2 student aid reports. So one from 2022, 2023 aid year, and one from 2023 to 2024 financial aid year. That way we can really see what your estimated family contribution is or expected family contribution. That way we can see if you truly meet the criteria for being a disadvantaged student based on that federal guideline on that EFC from your SAR. So that's one of the pieces of supporting documents we need. And then we'll also need your official university transcript, and that can be sent electronically over to us. And we are going to need your fall and spring grades. And then if you have taken any courses at any other institution besides your home institution, we're also going to need a copy of those. That way we can, an official copy, that way we can give you and evaluate you for the credit that you truly deserve. All right, we're going to go ahead and jump into the application in a moment. Give me 1 second. Oh, yes. One thing to notice, and I'm going to guide you through, if you do see my screen, it's a handy tool because there is the supporting documents there, multiple supporting documents. So I would go ahead and suggest you go ahead and head to the website, and you can click on application instructions and click on our supporting documents checklist. This will actually, you can mark them off as you've completed them just to ensure that you've hit every step and you're ready to go ahead and talk to your JFD to make sure they have everything before that November 8th deadline. All right. Trying to see what else I'm talking. Give me 1 moment. If you guys have not done so already, I would highly suggest that you go ahead and jump over to our website and check it out. We have upgraded our website to be able to really be more student friendly and more student centered. Um, Give me 1 moment. Okay, let's go ahead and chat. Okay, so let's chat a little bit about your application letter of evaluation form itself. That's going to need to be completed and submitted. We do have one of our application services representatives join us in a moment, but I did want to shed some light on this letter. We do require, again, two of these, and it's more time sensitive. So I would advise you guys to start the process as soon as you can and locate which two evaluators you would like to complete the evaluations for you. So the form, you see, you need to input your name, your institution. You hereby voluntarily waive or relinquish any right to access the confidential letter, or you can go ahead and retain your right to access. So you do have that. Hello. We have been joined by one of our application services representatives right here to really give a better oversight of the application service and the steps and the processes themselves. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Sulema to go ahead and dig a little bit deeper into this process for you guys.
Hi everyone. And so I just wanted to point out I went ahead and linked a resource in the chat. It has information about what you can give to your letter writers who are going to write a letter. I know that a lot of times we might tell someone to write a letter of recommendation for us, and then your evaluator says, okay, great. Now what do I do? And so this resource that I put in the chat is just information that was provided by the AMC. It's guidelines as to what the medical schools want to see, and a recommendation letter. So, for example, if we open up that link, it has information about um, like for example like GPA, or how long you've known the person, in which setting. It could be academic or it can be work related, etc. And it does provide some competencies that the schools are looking for in what they would call a competitive applicant. So some examples of what they would like to see in a letter of recommendation would be how you um, showed that you had critical thinking skills, or your scientific inquiry. So that would come typically from like a professor that would know you, or even a teacher. I know since a lot of students in JAMP were in high school not that long ago, and Shay, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is they can have a teacher as a letter recommendation person as well. And other competencies that could also be useful to have and highlight in a letter of recommendation would be like your oral communication skills, teamwork. So these are all a lot of competencies that schools look for, because this is what you will be exposed to in medical school, working in a team, working with your classmates, as well as in the real world once you start everything else that comes after that in your journey to becoming a physician. So I highly recommend that you take a look at that. We also have a resource that we provide on the TMDSA side, and I will show you guys what that looks like. Give me just one second, because I am going to get this resource from our Inside Health Education newsroom. So it's just an overall website that has information, news about events, um, information from our schools, information that was provided to us as resources to prepare you for your journey to becoming a physician. So let me go ahead and get that. All right, so I'm not able to find it at this time, but essentially, it just highlighted to give a little bit more information about how to approach your letter writers, when the best time to do that would be, and so that is part of this AMC resource is also located in that information. So definitely take a look at that. Alrighty. Okay, well, I'll pull up the next thing. I do see that we have a question in the chat, so I'll go ahead and highlight it here for everyone to see. All right, this is from Dad. Hi, I have an extenuating circumstance surrounding my JAMP application, and my school's JAMP director is out of town until the 24th. Is there someone I could talk to about that? Absolutely. So we definitely have this platform. The office hours is perfect if you have questions. You can definitely post these in the chat. We do have our associate director here, Shay, who, if we're able to address your question, we would do that live. But you can certainly call us, email us to info@texasjam.org. And I'll go ahead and list that email if this is something that's a little bit more personal. You'd rather speak about that online. We can certainly do that. So, Texas Jam. So I just posted the email address, and this is JAMP's office phone number. Oh, and there you go. Shay also went ahead and put her email address as well. So you do have multiple avenues of reaching out to us to communicate with us anything regarding your JAMP application, how we might be able to help you out, address your questions. The JAMP office is open from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. This is Central Time. And so if you have any questions, you are also free to give us a call as well. I did want to let you guys know that your application is due on Tuesday, October 31st at 5 p.m. Central Time. But that doesn't mean that you have to have all your letters submitted and all of your other documents submitted on that same day. You actually have a little bit more time to submit that information. For now, we just want you to go ahead and submit your application. That way, your team can go in and process your application, and then you can have that extra time to collect all your documents and get those submitted. The deadline for that will be on November 8th, and that will be on a Wednesday. So if you're still waiting on letters or your other supporting documents that JAMP requires, please don't let that be the reason that you don't submit your application by the deadline on Tuesday, October 31st. All right, but if anyone else has a question, let us know. Just feel free to pop it into the chat. I know sometimes it can be a little scary to put your question out there and your name, but that's okay. That's what we're here for, to answer any of your questions. Um, and if you're unable to watch this during this time, or you know someone who could benefit from this office hour, feel free to let them know that this recording will be available right after the session ends. And it'll be available for you to watch at a later time on our YouTube channel. So don't be afraid.
I got a question.
All right, go ahead.
So one of the big things that a lot of applicants to JAMP tend to get caught off guard on tends to be collecting letters of evaluation. And I just want to make sure that we go over that one more time, especially with some of the changes that happened this past application cycle. And so with I'm going to go ahead and open my dummy application so that we can all take a look at what this application looks like on your end. And then you can see the kind of guidance that we have for those that may have similar questions around submitting letters of evaluation for your JAMP application. So here we are on our application page. Let me go ahead and share that. And I'm going to make this larger. So I'm going to remove myself from the image. There we go. So here on your application, of course, as you're completing the different parts of your application down at the letters of evaluation section. And I'm sorry, I forgot to introduce myself. Hi, everybody. Is
That's
Enrique
me.
Hasso. This is me. Hi, everybody. My name is Enrique Hasso, and I am the Director of TMDSAS and Community Engagement. And I'm here to help kind of walk you through. That's Sulema again. There we go. I'm here to help answer some of the questions. And again, we really wanted to emphasize the letters of evaluation section. So when you complete this section, you actually don't send out the form directly. It doesn't send out the form automatically to your evaluator. So as you fill out the section, make sure that you have the correct contact info, whether these are your JFD or whether it's somebody who is a university college or perhaps a extracurricular extracurricular coordinator. So that's how you go ahead and do that. Again, for your first evaluator, that is your JFD or a university faculty. There's a preference for the JFD, but in case you can't get a hold of your JFD, you can always submit a letter on behalf of your university faculty. So that shouldn't stop you from submitting an application. Your second evaluator can also be another university faculty, a high school counselor, or a teacher, since a lot of you may have just graduated from high school within the past couple of years. These folks might know you a little bit better. And really what we're trying to get to is really understanding if you are a good fit, not just for JAMP, but for the medical profession as a whole. And so we also are looking for a work or volunteer supervisor, an extracurricular coordinator. It could be a coach. It could be somebody that you've worked with in academic decathlon or work at your church or synagogue or mosque through a community center, or a mentor. It could even be somebody who is a current JAMP student in medical school who can share how effective you might be as an aspiring physician. And so really what we're looking for here in these letters is, you've gone through your entire application. You talk about how amazing you are, and each of you is incredible. But really what we're looking for is how good of a fit are you going to be for the medical profession? And so we do talk a little bit about the core competencies, but one of the things I want to go over here is as you enter the folks that are going to be submitting the letters for you, you then come here and click on this link, and I'm going to share what this looks like. And here we have a link that shows the evaluation letter. And so download this letter, enter your information. So here it is, like, my name is Enrique. I'm currently attending, let's say, UT Rio Grande Valley. And then either retain the rights or relinquish your right to view the letter. This is something that's important in higher education because we have to ask whether or not you're going to maintain the right to view the letter or allow the evaluator to submit the letter without you reviewing it. This is kind of an aspect of making sure that the evaluator can tell us what it is that we need to know without necessarily having to go through you. So we can get a lot more of a candid perspective. Typically, if you waive your right, and again, if you're worried that your evaluator might not say only good things about you, then maybe you might want to reconsider who that evaluator is, and find folks that can really advocate for you. So you fill out this information, and then you provide your JFD's info here. This is important because as you send out these forms for your evaluators, your JAMP faculty director is actually going to help you upload these directly into the application. You as the applicant don't have the ability to upload these, and so it has to come through your JFD. And this is why it's important to include this information, and we reiterate that here. And then in the actual evaluation, you can actually already see the questions that are going to be asked and the Likert scale of how well each person can speak to different abilities. And so again, this is a really important aspect of the application. I think something that a lot of applicants tend to overlook and not really have a lot of time to think about it. But I really challenge you to not just find the folks that are going to be advocating for you and why you're going to be an amazing physician, but also finding folks that can really uh, answer the different questions, because the way that the questions are structured is how we anticipate and expect aspiring physicians to act when they are kind of in first and second year of college, like you all are. So, Shay and Sulema, I hope I didn't overtake that too hard there, but I'm happy to address any other questions that may be coming in. All right, we got 6 viewers and no questions, y'all. This is your time to shine. Let us know what you're looking at in your application, any areas that might be of trouble or of question. Have we gone over how to answer the different parent section, or the socioeconomic section rather, in the application, Shay? All right, I'm getting a no backstage. So let's go over that part of the application as well. This is something that's unique for JAMP, and it might be a little bit different from what you used when you actually applied to college. So I want to make sure that you know that section well. So here in the socioeconomic section, again, JAMP is a program that helps the applicants that need the most support in terms of economics and academic achievement. And so this section is really important as we're evaluating your application. Obviously, you have to have an EFC of 8,000 or less in order to qualify to apply to JAMP. We also ask additional questions. So even if one of those years you may have had a year where your EFC is 8,001, these questions are going to be what helps us get a better sense for what it is that you've had to overcome in order to reach the application to JAMP. So we ask if you are the first member of your family to attend or graduate an undergraduate program. And we will define first generation as a student with neither parent having any education beyond high school. So if your parents didn't go to college, even to attend one semester, then you would select yes here. Are you the first member? Are you a member of the first generation in your immediate family to graduate from a professional program? And again, this would be first generation being defined as any parent uh, not having any education beyond high school. We of course ask if you are dependent, if you have any children yourself, or if you have any dependent children. We ask your primary language. If you're bilingual or multilingual, you can actually select the different languages that you might speak here. We also ask you to go in and confirm the zip code that you've lived at. So I'm going to, from the time that you were born to the time that you were 18. If you have lived outside of the US, you can actually indicate where you've lived, perhaps if you've lived in different countries. We ask for your household size, estimated family income, estimated value of the property that you live at. We also ask questions about federal programs, like if you've lived in government subsidized housing, received free and reduced meal, if you've had any responsibilities raising other children in your household, if you've had to contribute to the overall income of your family. And that means, if you're working part-time while also going to school and sending money back home, you could answer yes to this question. If you've participated in any of these federal programs, SNAP, food stamps, WIC, Social Security, SSI, disability income, had CHIP, Medicaid, lived in subsidized housing or TAMP, or were part of Upward Bound or TRIO programs. And we also ask you to verify if you've lived in a medically underserved area or community. So I'm going to show you all what this means here. You'll notice that there's a link here to find medically underserved areas by address. I'm going to share, don't y'all go stalking me, but I'm going to share here an address of the area nearby where I grew up. in El Paso. Shout out to anybody out there from El Paso. Actually, if anybody out there is from El Paso, please send me a bag of green chile. I know it's the season. So there we entered the address, and we can go ahead and see this different information provided by the HRSA database. And so down here is where we want you to take a look. HRSA database actually designates if an area has different issues with healthcare providers and making sure that there's sufficient healthcare providers for the size of the population. So in this area, there's a need for dental care, there's a need for mental health care, but really what we're looking for is this primary care HPSA, and then this one. This flag is the one that we need you to confirm. Did you live in a medically underserved area, MUA, or medically underserved population? And so here you can see designation type medically underserved. So I can come back to my application now that I've confirmed. Was I raised in a medically underserved community? Yes, I was. So I can select that. If you were in foster care at any point, whether it was a number of years or a couple of weeks, you can select that you were part of foster care. We also offer you an opportunity to talk about any situation prior to turning 18 years of age where you may have experienced material hardship or deprivation, unemployment, food insecurity, housing instability. If you resided in an area of high crime rate, if you had inadequate pre-literacy experiences, or inadequate after-school enrichment opportunities. And some examples here, might be if you went to a high school that didn't offer all of the AP courses that you needed to take or that you wanted to take, or didn't have the dual credit courses that you wanted to take as an aspiring pre-med, then this would be a section where you can talk about that. And then finally, if there are any other sections that were not discussed in this area, but you believe contribute to being considered socioeconomically disadvantaged, we have another spot here for you to go ahead and enter those. All right, so this is one of the big areas of reviewing your application. And then next up, the other one, I know that we've been reaching out to a lot of you who may have started an application but haven't submitted yet. And one of the areas that tends to be more daunting is the different essays. So what I wanted to share with you is, the application is pretty long. I will be the first one to admit that. But the reason why the application is so long in entering different activities and talking about your experiences, and then we come back and ask you what your aspirations, experiences, or relationships have motivated you to pursue the study of medicine through JAMP. Really what we're asking here is, number one, we're not asking for a beautiful poem or prose. We know you're not Ernest Hemingway. We know you're not Gertrude Stein. We know you're not Shakespeare. And so we're not looking for the most perfect piece of writing that has ever existed. If you're worried about that, fully take advantage of writing center resources available on your campus. But really what we need here is to better understand what motivates you to pursue this study of medicine. And one of the ways that we do that is through a method called STAR, STAR. And so the STAR has to do with situation, if I could type, situation, task, action, and results. So an example here, and this is just to give you all a little bit of extra feedback. I was a writing mentor, and I graduated with a degree in English, so I have some experience in writing in these types of situations. But think about different situations that may have been an inspiration for you. And that could be something that is a positive or a negative experience. For example, if you yourself encountered healthcare experiences where you just worked with the most incredible healthcare team, share that and maybe talk about why they were the best healthcare team. Or if you experienced a family member who didn't get the best care, That might also be a negative experience, but something that inspired you to be better. So regardless of what that moment was, think about that and talk about it, a couple of sentences. Like, when I broke my arm when I was in high school, um, I wasn't able to play baseball, and because of that, I felt that I was going to really miss out on a lot of opportunities. But in working with healthcare providers and a full healthcare team, I was able to see that not only could I find a road to recovery, but also find that there's a pathway for me to fully recover in a shorter amount of time than I anticipated. And in working with this full healthcare team, that's how I found it. And they were really calm and committed to making sure that I could find my way back to the field. So, in that story, there, we've got a couple of different situations. Number one, the healthcare team was collaborative. Number two, the healthcare team had really great communication skills, and the healthcare team made you feel at ease. So, in this situation, we talk about the different things that made them unique. So in there, you would then say, if I aspire to be a part of a medical care team like that in the future, what do I need to do to reach that point? And so you identify, what do I need to do? So that might include taking better communication courses, taking courses in speech, maybe to be able to communicate with folks in a more efficient manner or a more concise manner. Maybe taking philosophy courses or taking courses that are outside of the pre-med prerequisites that you believe are going to make you a more effective communicator. Another thing in working in a healthcare team, you might consider finding different opportunities to be involved in a team and building those team building skills, building your leadership skills as part of a team, and engaging in that. So that might take a lot of different pathways according to your own definition, but that's definitely an opportunity. So here under action, we could say build leadership skills, learn how to communicate effectively and concisely. I don't know if I spelled concisely correctly, so I apologize if I didn't, but just as a reminder, I majored in English, so what I say goes. And so after engaging in these different activities and kind of figuring out what it was that I needed to build my skills in so that I could provide good support for patients in the future, now you can say, as part of the results, I am an effective communicator. And I'm working to keep improving. There's no perfect. Or working on leadership skills in healthcare and community. And so this shows that even though there was a moment of inspiration that led you to want to pursue this pathway, that it wasn't just, hey, there was this great episode of Grey's Anatomy that made me really want to be a doctor. It's something that really inspired you in a real life situation. You assessed it, you reflected on it, and then thought, how can I be a part of that group? And so if you were to do this, a couple of different times with different moments of inspiration, different situations, right here alone, you've got this full essay that can help answer the question about the personal statement. And so I really want you to stay connected with what it is that these prompts say, because this is a really important part of your application. This is the only part that isn't a black and white part where we say, hey, this MCAT is, or I'm sorry, hey, this EFC is here or it's not here, or this letter of evaluation is here or it's not here in support. This is an area where you can really kind of direct the attention of folks that are reviewing your application and get them to kind of see you in a different perspective. This is what adds dimension to your application. All right. We've got a question from Priscilla. I'm not sure if I should fill out the optional in your formative years question in the socioeconomic section. That's a great question. So we're coming back to the socioeconomic section here. So here we're asking, in your formative years, did you experience any of the following circumstances which disadvantaged you as an applicant? So I myself grew up in an environment where I didn't have a lot of resources available to me, and I'm also first gen, and so if I saw this when I was your age, I would be like, no, I don't think I'm really there. But I really want you to think critically about the different obstacles that you've had to overcome, and about different challenges that maybe some of your peers didn't have to. Um, some of the things that may have impacted you may not be to the extreme level that we often see in media, but it could be something that really impacted you. So I really encourage you to kind of reflect on your own upbringing and really think about what it is that may have caused you to um, be disadvantaged in your development and your growth toward wanting to pursue this pathway. And that's really what JAMP is here to do, is to help fill some of those gaps to make sure that you're successful. So Priscilla, if you could take some time to really engage with that. If you still have questions or have any concerns about this section, I highly encourage you to meet with your JAMP faculty director so that they can help you address that question, maybe give you different perspectives. All right. Anything else? Shay, Sulema in the green room? Any other questions have come in so far? No? All right. Well, just to give you some perspective as to where we currently are in the application, the JAMP application as of today, October 18th, is still open for any first or second years in college. That means that you graduated um, back in May 2022 or graduated this May in 2023. And there are different pathways available through JAMP that can help you take advantage of this opportunity. Visit texasjamp.org to learn more about the different pathways and the different requirements to submit an application. Um, and our deadline is on October 31st at 5 p.m. So before you go out trick or treating and before you go put on your Barbie and your Ken costume, make sure that you submit your application and make sure that that it's submitted so that we can start working with you to get your supporting documents submitted. The supporting documents are going to include your letters of evaluation, your FAFSAs to confirm your EFC, and a couple of additional documents that you're going to work with your JAMP faculty director to submit to the JAMP office. This deadline is November 8th, which is a Wednesday. It's a Wednesday, right? Okay, great. Thank you. And so we need to make sure that those documents are received. Otherwise, your application would be considered incomplete and you'll be deemed ineligible to continue in the process. Oh, I disappeared. Oh, thank you. If you have any questions about the overall process, we highly encourage you to reach out to your JAMP faculty director. If you have any emergency questions about the application or about just in general your ability to submit your application or any general questions, we can address those at the JAMP office. We have phones available during work hours, Monday through Friday at 512-499-4352, or send us an email at info@texasjamp.org. And then after our deadline around December, we'll start notifying applicants that have been invited to interview. Interviews will typically take place in January prior to school starting for the spring semester. And early spring semester, we'll start notifying folks to start getting ready to can show up to one of our summer internships at the medical schools the following summer. So it's gonna come sooner than you anticipate. So make sure that you take this time, take advantage of the office hours session next week, where Shay is going to answer every single question that you have about the application, and make sure that you are successful. We're all here to make sure that you are successful in taking advantage of this opportunity. I can't talk about how important JAMP is as a program, but I can definitely tell you that from the hundreds of students that I've mentored over the years as part of JAMP and now in TMD SAS working with JAMP, JAMP is a really special program, and we really want to make sure that you have the opportunity to take advantage of everything JAMP has to offer. So, on behalf of uh, TMDSAS, the Texas Health Education Service, and JAMP, we want to wish you all the best of luck in your application. Look forward to seeing it, and we'll see you at next week, our last office hour session next Wednesday at 2 p.m. And again, we are all here to help you, so make sure you take full advantage of these opportunities. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you next week.